And then they were afraid that they would offend people if they did that.
What are you? He's just making up so many stories. It's awesome. Bro, I don't think this is a compelling narrative. I don't think this is a compelling narrative at all.
And
he's just freestyling about that didn't happen.
It just may be the most far left agenda in our country's history on a presidential ticket.
Because the Democratic ticket is now set. Governor Tim Walz's record in Minnesota includes everything from tax-funded health care for illegals to so-called gender-affirming care for minors, just to name a few, as we've been doing this morning.
Joining us now for his first TV interview, his reaction to this ticket that he's fighting against them to have the right to go to the White House and become the 47th president. Let's welcome the 45th president of the United States, GOP presidential nominee, President Donald Trump. Mr. President, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
So
thank you.
Your reaction to Governor Tim Walz joining Kamala Harris to go against you and J.D. Vance?
I would say my reaction is I can't believe it. I never thought this was going to be the one that was picked. I know him a little bit. I helped him very much during the riots because his house was surrounded by people that were waving an American flag. Doesn't sound like very bad people. And he called me, and he was very concerned, very, very concerned that it was going to get out of control. They only had one guard. I guess it was at the mansion or at his house in some form. And he called me. I said, what do you want me to do about it? I was in the White House. He said, if you would put out the word that I'm a good person. And I did. I put out the word. I said, he's a good person. I hope everything's good. And everybody put down.
Oh, he's trying to get ahead of the audio leak. Yeah, we heard what you said, big dog.
Down their flags and took their flags with them. But they took their American flags and their MAGA flags and they left. It was thousands of people. And that was the first time I said, wow, that's very interesting. And he called me back and he thanked me very much. That's my only thing I ever had to do with him. He's a very, very liberal man, and he's a shocking pick, and I'm thrilled. I could not be more thrilled.
Yeah, I mean, when they selected him, it's really a gift for you because this election is all about the issues, and all of y'all have records. You've been the president. We know where the economy stood. We know what your record is. We know what Kamala Harris's record is, and we know what his record is, and they are extremely progressive. Talk about how you're going to handle this on the campaign trail. Will you just really hone in on how they voted in the past?
Well, I am. I'm going to be doing that, what he wants. If you look at his record with no walls, no security, let everybody in, he's worse than they are. You know, nobody knew how radical left she was, but he's a smarter version of her, if you want to know the truth. He's probably about the same as Bernie Sanders. He's probably more so than Bernie Sanders. She is more so than Bernie Sanders. That's got to be your guide, Bernie Sanders, and that's not a great guide. But there's never been a ticket like this. This is
amazing. They keep comparing Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to demonstrably one of the most popular congresspersons historically. Like, bro, there are Fox News watchers that like Bernie. What are you talking about? Like, what do you mean?
This is a ticket that would want this country to go communist immediately, if not sooner. We want no security. We want no anything. He's very heavy into transgender. Anything transgender he thinks is great. And he's not where the country is on anything.
Mr. President,
this is a shocking, let me tell you, this is a shocking pick. And I think it's very insulting to Jewish people, and I think it's very insulting to people that want security. I think it's very insulting to anything having to do with making America great again.
Mr. President, is it true that your team thought for sure that it was going to be Josh Shapiro? Because there was one reporter who was at a J.D. Vance event yesterday, and there were some flyers printed up talking about how J.D. Vance, rather about how Mr. Shapiro was a fraud and corrupt and a lying con man and stuff like that. So it sounds like you were ready to take on him.
That sounds like what you would say.
Well, look, I'm no big fan of Josh Shapiro. I know the state.
Bro, L after L. That's so funny. Why are you openly admitting? Megaphonics, stop. Please stop spamming. Trump claims without evidence to have saved Walz from protesters in 2020. Speaking to Fox News on Wednesday, Trump said without offering evidence on specific dates or times that he publicly announced Walz was a good person in order to dissuade protesters from surrounding Walz's house. Walz, the Minnesota governor and Democratic vice presidential pick, has previously said it was tweets by Trump that brought armed people to my house in the first place, including members of the Proud Boys, a far-right group. Trump did not act to calm the situation, tweeting on 29th of May, "These thugs are dishonoring the memory of George Floyd, and I won't let that happen. Just spoke to Governor Tim Walz and told him that the military is with him all the way, any difficulty, and we will assume control. But when the looting starts, the shooting starts. Thank you." Speaking of Fox, Trump said Walz was very, very concerned that the situation was getting out of control. Walz and Trump had a cordial conversation about the COVID response. Wait, what are you talking about? This is the same, Megaphonics. Megaphonics, this is the same article as the other one.
Very well. I think we're leading pretty good in that state, but I would have said it would have been a better choice. I would have said others would have better choice. And interesting, just about all of them, except this one, is better than her. She is not nearly as good as the people she was looking at. I know them all in one form or another. And in fact, there was a poll done, and there were some studies done. She's the worst of the group, and she's the one that's leading it. Look at this decision. This is a really bad decision for the country. You know, ultimately, I want the country to have good decisions, because ultimately what we want is for the country to do well. The country can't do well with these two people. They're very similar, and you know, you would have thought she would have reached out and got somebody that's got some different, because her record on security is horrible. She was a border czar, which she doesn't admit it now. You know, the only thing they have going is the media will play off all of the bad things that happened during her term. She was so bad that 5 weeks ago, they wanted to remove her because she was unthinkable to be president. They were going to go with anyone. And then they were afraid that they would offend people if they did that.
What are you? He's just making up so many stories. It's awesome. Bro, I don't think this is a compelling narrative. I don't think this is a compelling narrative at all.
And
he's just freestyling about that didn't happen.
All of a sudden, inch by inch, and then she ends up taking over. Now the same press that thought she was the worst vice president in history, which is true, going along with the worst president in history. And he went down after the debate, and there was nothing much they could do. They tried to come back. Then they brought her in, and everybody said, it'll never be her. She's so bad. She's incompetent. And after they studied it a little bit, they realized it's not going to be so easy to do. So they say, well, look, the press is going to do whatever we want because the press is a rigged deal. The press is the media, outside of you people, of course, but the media is so they're trying to build her up to the next Margaret Thatcher liberal version, and I don't believe it's going to happen. I hear she's hasn't taken one interview. She would never do an interview like this. That I can guarantee with any network. She doesn't do interviews because she can't answer questions. I don't know how she debates. I heard she's sort of a nasty person, but not a good good debater. But we'll see, because we'll be debating her, I guess, in the pretty near future. It's going to be announced fairly soon, but we'll be debating her. I'd like to see it on Fox, by the way. I would like to see it. My preference would be Fox, but we have to debate.
Do you have an announcement, Mr. Are you working stuff out behind the scenes? Because we haven't heard about it yet.
No, but I can tell you every network loves me very much right now. They love me very much. I've never been so loved by CBS and by ABC Fake News. And by NBC. No, they're all in love with me now, so that, you know, I say yes because it's up to me, obviously.
He was so thrilled about Walz that he was up all night posting about it. Why are the comments so anti-Trump? What is going on? This is a Fox News YouTube video.
Also.
But, on the
look,
debate,
the most important thing is we get debate. I think debates are very important, and I think she'll be exposed just like Biden was exposed. Nobody knew Biden was that bad, and then he was exposed to.
Something changed tonight. A ton of campaign surrogates are all of a sudden messaging around, where's Trump? Is he too old to campaign? Has anyone seen him leave the golf course? Why is Vance following around Kamala like a creepy stalker? Where's Trump? Yeah, that's why I was saying it's like stupid of them to be like, Kamala Harris is like running away from making like appearances or talking to the media when she literally put boots on the ground and immediately started campaigning, like pretty aggressively. 2 campaign stops today, one in Wisconsin, one in Detroit, Michigan. It's like what are we talking about here? Like, you're the one who's not doing the regular rallies. You're supposed to be the one who like constantly is doing massive rallies.
Where is former President Trump? Why isn't he out there campaigning?
Bro, it'd be real funny if you got COVID from Adam Ross.
Well, the former president is here in Palm Beach at his Mar-a-Lago campaigning. We have obviously asked the campaign when he will be out on the road again, but obviously this is a split screen here as you see Harris and Walz pounding the pavement in these battleground states and Vance really alone out there while Trump has been in Florida. Now,
where is former President Trump? Why isn't he out there campaigning?
It's more quiet quitting, bro.
Well, the former president is here in Palm Beach at his Mar-a-Lago resort. Why he's...
Come on, don't you know Aiden Ross stream 100 million views is better than any campaign? Yeah, he's too busy talking to Aiden Ross and committing FEC FEC campaign contribution violations. He can't be campaigning for that reason. It is a wonderful change of affairs that we went from like, where's Biden? He's so full to like, where's Donald Trump really?
During the debate.
What's he up to?
Tried to have a series of comebacks after that, and they didn't work out too well, and they viciously overthrew him. I mean, he was overthrown in it, using every trick in the book. They overthrew him. It was pretty amazing, actually, to watch.
I want to come back to the debate. Just to close this up, you're in litigation with George Stephanopoulos on ABC. So there's right, and the judge says, yeah, the suit's going to go forward. So how could you go on ABC, especially if he's going to be one of the moderators?
Well, you could use that as an excuse. I could use that. I've said that. Is there a conflict? And, you know, there might be George Stephanopoulos, and he's got problems, and, you know, they've got problems. But if they're going to have I guess David Muir is going to be the host in that case.
David Muir, Felix Biederman's favorite broadcaster, the handsome man. I don't think he's afraid of like getting shot again, and that's why he's not campaigning. That's something that I've heard from people. I think the real reason is because he might have COVID. Who knows? But that's not what it is. No, it's not because he's old. He likes campaigns. He likes campaigning. He does it all the time. No, I think he's worried that his campaign crowds are not going to be as big as Kamala Harris's. I'm serious. I think it literally is because he's seeing all the massive crowds that they're bringing up, and he's a big ass view count Andy, just like me. Okay. From one view count Andy to the other, I feel like his ego won't let him participate in a campaign stop if that campaign stop is not going to be as big as Kamala Harris's. I'm serious.
You have all the hosts are pretty much named, and you have Brett and Martha, and they're great. And I'd love to see it on Fox, but, you know, it takes two to tango.
Well, maybe you get two. Maybe you get two debates.
Debate. Look.
And they're also hitting that, too, by the way. The Kamala Harris campaign is not posting crowd size comparisons on Trump's true social media platform, saying that their arena was much larger and, like, fully filled up in comparison to Trump. Even if it's fake, even if it's, like, from a different point in the campaign where, like, before Trump actually went on stage or whatever, it still doesn't matter because, like, it really pisses him off. Oh, wait, no, he is on stage here. But yeah, it really hurts him. Like, it hurts his feelings a lot. And I told you this before, like, that's the one thing that he, like, will absolutely talk about. What? Do you buy this? No, I don't buy that. Whatever the Fioranon news thing is, no. It's the exact same arena 1 week apart.
She doesn't want to debate. She wants to say, I don't want to debate, but I do want to debate. You know, when it came to Biden, I accepted everything. I accepted Jake Tapper. I accepted everything because he didn't want to debate. After I accepted everything, the only thing I said, let's stand up. They wanted to sit down at a desk. I said, that's not going to look so great. So I said, but I accepted everything. And, you know, pretty much that's the way I do it right now because I want to debate her. I think it's important for the country that we debate. Now, where it is, I'm all for Fox. I'd like to see it on Fox. I think Fox would do a really good job, but two people have to agree.
All right, Mr. President, let's talk about some of the issues. Mr. Walz, Governor Walz, said this about you, that you don't understand kitchen table issues. Listen.
Donald Trump's not fighting for you or your family. He never sat at that kitchen table like the one I grew up at, wondering how we were going to pay the bills. He sat at his country club up in Mar-a-Lago, wondering how he can cut taxes for his rich friends.
Mr. President, what's your response to that?
Well, I think it's just the opposite. I think if you see the vote, those people are all voting for me, the people that he's talking about with the kitchen table. And I was not always sitting at Mar-a-Lago either, but I was sitting at lots of other places. And built an unbelievable business, one of the greatest businesses. I built a business that is phenomenal. That's been really...
Excellent strategy, sir. Thank you for addressing that you're an out-of-touch billionaire who's never had to suffer financially by doubling down on how rich you are. That's awesome. He's like, well, you know, I'm super rich. I'm super wealthy. You don't understand. Like, I have unimaginable amounts of wealth, and the average American will never be able to comprehend how much wealth I have.
Really determined now how good it is. And, you know, I could have a very simple life and a very good life and continue to do what I love. I love business and I love creating jobs, and that's what we're doing. We'll be creating jobs at a level that you've never seen before. If you look at our administration, the most successful administration from the economy standpoint there ever was. There's never been any administration that was even close, numbers-wise. And by the way, they had inflation, the level which our country probably has never seen. You know, they say you go back 72 years. Well, I think we probably never have seen inflation like that. And it's the same people that he's talking about, it's inflation has destroyed their administration, and they have no idea what to do about it. It's getting worse, and you had a crash the other day of over 1,000 points. It's a very bad situation that we're going in. We could end up in a depression if these people are reelected.
So let's talk about Van Jones had interesting things to say about, he says this on CNN. It's just because he's a moderate. They're talking about Shapiro not getting the job. Or is there some anti-Jewish bias there? He goes, you also have that's gotten marbled into this party. You can't be for the Palestinians without being anti-Jewish bigot. But there are some anti...
Bro, I want to put like that on a rocket ship, okay? Like this right here, the fact that this is being like constantly posted all up and down the timeline, like Van Jones should be fired, okay? For giving this like idiotic talking point any steam. I said this yesterday. The moment that I heard it, I was like, this is such, obviously it doesn't matter. Like, I don't think people believe it anyway. It's not like people are like, oh yeah, the Dems are really anti-Semitic and this is going to change my calculation in the way I'm voting. Like, it doesn't matter. It's still very annoying. A chatter actually just said something really, really interesting, and I love it. This feels analogous to the Dems trying to outplay the Republicans on the border. Yep. Great take, chatter. You can't be the guy who literally has said Nazis that said Jews will not replace us are very fine people. You can't be the guy who had dinner with Nicholas Fuentes, an out and about American Nazi, and then turn around and be like, yeah, the Democrats are really anti-Semitic, actually. It's funny because he's also simultaneously comparing like Waltz and Kamala Harris to Bernie Sanders, who's also Jewish.
Jewish bigots out there, and there's some disquiet now, and there has to be how much that just happened. How much is this pick? I guess he said.
Donald Trump went on Aiden Ross's stream and said Kanye West is complicated. Fuck you mean, bro?
Saying caving into the anti-Jewishness. Do you think that's marbled into the party? Because if I could bring in something else that's new, CNN did a poll, and they asked New York Jewish New.
Did you see the Hollywood Reporter article called Why Liberal Jews Are Right to Feel Worried About Harris Bypassing Josh Shapiro? Yes, I did. I think there are a group of journalists who are legitimately trying to make Americans by just like writing articles like that. I think they just like sit around and they're like, how can we make like someone living in a rural farmland think that Jews indeed control the media? Let's just write the most like idiotic Jews control the media ass article so that like people will read it or see it in passing and go, oh my God, it's literally the dumbest type of it's like, it's so like, it honestly feels like it's being done deliberately to push. Like, what an insane article to write. You're out of your mind, dude. Oh, did you ever get back from the journalist? Yes. She tried to reach out to me multiple times. I just didn't have time. Like, Israel and defending Israel has nothing to do with it. If anything, most defenders of Israel in the United States of America are rabid, including Pastor John Hagee and many others. Evangelical Christians who are unimaginably are the #1 writers of Israel. Okay. People who would literally burn down a synagogue are the #1 defenders. People who genuinely say like, oh, Jews have horns and tails are the #1 defenders of Israel. That's #1. Okay. #2, having said that, actually, you know what? I'm not even done with that aspect. evangelical Christianity's understanding of Israel's ascendance is also inherently, because you know what happens to all the Jews once they go to Israel? Okay, because that's why they're unconditionally committed to Israel. They want to send all the Jews to Israel. Okay, it's a win-win for them because they're out and they're tomorrow. They're out, so they're like, yeah, send the Jews to the desert. It's awesome. Let God sort it out, right? I don't want to live around them. Send them to the desert. That's the number one thing they believe. But then also, they believe that once Jews go to the desert, to Israel, then the rapture happens. You know what happens during the rapture? All the evangelical Christians, they get sucked up into the heavens. Everyone else that is not an evangelical Christian, that does not convert to evangelical Christianity, you know what happens to them? Including the Jews, by the way? Eternal hell, okay? Eternal damnation. So how is this a pro-Jew argument? How is this a pro-Jew ideology? Go ask. Ask any evangelical. They will literally tell you straight up, this is what they believe, okay? So the idea that like even the theological Armageddon justifications for why like Jews have to go to Israel is even then it's just like inherently what happens to the Jews in the end? They in eternal hell, okay? In eternal hellfire. Anyway, it's a version of what you said, but basically, yeah, I know I'm paraphrasing a little bit. Anyway, so obviously Zionists, Jewish Zionists, like Gilad Erdan, in between like slapping on a yellow gold star and telling the entirety of the UN that like if you don't let me do a Holocaust, that's my own personal Holocaust, and the most gross display of abusing and weaponizing one of the most horrific wrongs ever committed against Jewish people, if not the most horrific wrong committed against Jewish people historically, in a way to cynically defend doing their own, okay? In the middle of those travels, he went to Pastor John Hagee and linked up with him and was talking to the evangelicals about how they love how committed evangelicals are to Judaism, how evangelicals are committed to Israel. Why was he doing that? Because obviously he doesn't believe that they're going to go and burn in hell, but they think that it's like a very strategic decision to tap in to the most rabid freaks in the country. They've been calling young Jews who are literally in perpetuity. They haven't stopped doing that. So miss me with this, okay? They literally run around being like every young Jew is token and also is rabid for the crime of what? Oh, criticizing Israel. Okay, no thanks. Pushing aside so many people, so many young Jewish Americans from their communities, from their network of support because of the crime of seeing what the f is going on and knowing what is right and knowing what is wrong. It's so goddamn unacceptable. Suck my this like, okay? Anti-Semitism is a very real problem in the United States of America, okay? And all ultra-Zionists from Israel do is exacerbate those real tendencies that people have by turning around and cynically deploying Judaism as a shield to be like, no, you know, all the 40,000 butchered babies and women that you see, that's actually for Judaism. We love that. Like all Jews love that. Great argument, man. Like, are you stupid? Don't you realize that that is inherently what Nazis say about Jewish people? It doesn't make any sense. Oh, anyway. Zionists have been partnering with to complete their political project for the entire history of the movement. You obviously know, but it's just insane to think about. Yeah, it's just like so crazy. They also say Jews are perverted and invented porn. Exactly. Literally, dude. They're like these people who are like, you know, I love Israel. Israel needs to be defended at all costs. They're also the first people to be like, Jews do pornographic stuff. They're perverts and love money. They're money goblins. Like, dude, these big Jews have horns, bro. Like, what are we talking about? Like, they're so insanely... But hey, guys, they're pro-Israel. You know what I mean? So it's fine.
New Yorkers, if the election was today, who you'd vote for. And for the first time maybe ever since Ronald Reagan, you have a 1-point lead over Kamala Harris among Jewish voters in New York. Your reaction to Van Jones and that poll?
Great. I love that. Okay? I love that. Yo, Alexa, show me the New York polls between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Huh. Harris almost doubles Biden's lead in New York. Biden's lead in Trump in New York. Damn. New Siena College poll found Harris has a 14-point lead over the former president with 53% of support among New York voters, while Trump trails with 39% support from his home state. Damn. So I guess what I was saying about, one, the Jewish vote not being monolithic, and two, it being inconsequential in winning states is true after all. That's the same poll, man. That's the same poll.
Well, we're going to try and win New York, and that hasn't been done for many, many decades, as you know, but we're trying to win New York, and we're very close to doing it. And probably...
Bro, what kind of crack cocaine are you on, dude? We're going to win New York. We're very close. Bro, you are literally... First of all, you could have been. You could have been. It's not even a joke. He could have been. There was a shot. If it was a Biden matchup, and he went with, what was it? It was, I think were they potentially talking about Stefanik? They were, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Let's check where, in New York, just for fun. Siena poll conducted by Siena College. 507 Long Island likely voters. Oh, no, they were potentially talking about getting Stefanik on board as the VP. Okay. By the way, this is ridiculous, dude. Long Island? Are you kidding me? That's like conducting a poll in Albany and being like, this is what the Manhattan voters think about Donald Trump. Like, get the out of here, Long Island. None of the islands. No Staten Island, no Long Island. Get the out of here.
Probably that's another reason I was somewhat surprised. I think that any Jewish person who votes for a Democrat, or in this case, these people, but who votes for a Democrat, should have their head examined. They are so bad. If you look, they are so bad to Jewish people, what they've done and the way they talk and their policy and everything else, far beyond just what happened, because everyone thought it was going to be Shapiro. It turned out not to be Shapiro. I have very little doubt that it was, not for the reason we're talking about. It was because of the fact that he's Jewish, and they think they're going to offend somebody else. And you wouldn't feel very comfortable if you're in Israel right now with this team. This is the worst team ever assembled for a Jewish person or for Israel, either one. The worst team ever assembled. This is a team that will not be there. And I think I'm going to get a tremendous amount of Jewish votes. I think I was doing fine there, but I think it's a big difference. Traditionally, Jewish people vote for Democrats, but we won last time. We won Miami. We won areas that nobody's ever won before with Jewish people. But when he didn't pick Shapiro, and I don't think Shapiro was the second best person or the third. I think there were other people better than him. I know them all. And, but I was shocked when it came down to the final two that he didn't pick Shapiro. I was very surprised.
Mr. President, here's another soundbite of the current vice president talking about, on her watch with Joe Biden, things are just absolutely great, right? Watch.
In Pennsylvania, we fight for a future with affordable housing, affordable health care, affordable child care, paid leave. We fight for a future where we bring down prices that are still too high and lower the cost of living for America's families.
Okay, so there, she is co-pilot to Joe Biden. So while inflation and prices have been through the roof during their administration, now she's trying to put on a happy face about how we're going to turn it all around. Mr. President, I'm sure you've seen over the last week or so, her team has been leaking to the New York Times. All those things we used to stand for, we're not for them anymore because we've adopted all new policies. That's probably one of the reasons why she has not appeared on television. And so she's trying to appear more moderate to appeal to people in the middle, way with it. The honeymoon for Kamala Harris, it must drive you crazy because it's still going on.
It does, and there's only one thing, because she's just talking about Pennsylvania. No fracking. That means your energy prices are going to go through the roof, but that means Pennsylvania's going to lose 500,000 jobs. More important than the 500,000 jobs, they're going to lose tremendous streams of money. She wants no fracking, and she wants no fracking. She's trying to say now that she wants, she's gone through every single thing that was a horror show, and she disavows it now. She disavows the no fracking. If if she does no fracking, and she will 100% do it. One thing I've learned about politicians, and you people knew it maybe before me, but I've known it for a long time, their first thought is the thought that they end up doing. She's for no fracking. She's for defund the police. You know, she was the original defunder of the police. She was the original no cash bail, cashless bail, which has caused havoc. And look at how she's destroyed San Francisco. She started it out as the DA in San Francisco with policies that were so bad. It's a crime-ridden place. It went to the greatest city in America. It's a crime-ridden place right now. It's not livable. You can't even live there. And then she went to Attorney General. She's destroyed California. Her and Gavin Newsom have destroyed, absolutely destroyed California. And what a shame. What a beautiful place it was. But it's not beautiful anymore. She cannot get away, because if she does this to...
It's just weird because he donated to her campaign twice. And as you guys know, I'm obviously, you know, living in this crime-ridden, and it's terrifying, you know? It's so scary, dude. Every day I walk outside and I'm just like scared for my life. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna die any moment now. It's on fire, dude. I'm so brave for being able to step foot outside. Okay, let's hear what Sean Fain